Midnight, Sturgis, Michigan, May 22nd, 2019.
And we're in a hallway, one that looks like, well, pretty much any apartment hallway in America.
Exactly. You can almost smell it, right? That cheap carpet and the buzz from a fluorescent light somewhere. It's the definition of mundane.
It is. But police are standing at one specific door. They're there because of a tip. A man named Steven, a friend of the resident, couldn't sleep.
His conscience was eating him alive.
Yeah.
He told him something was wrong. Something was very wrong in apartment number 3.
And when the door opens, they see Wade Allen, 35 years old.
And he just looks tired, average.
Yeah.
Like a guy you'd see at a gas station who's rubbing his eyes wearing a rumpled t-shirt.
But the atmosphere inside that apartment, it tells a completely different story. It's what we call a silent dossier.
Let's pause on that.
Yeah.
Because that's the framework for this deep dive. We aren't here for a simple summary.
No.
We're performing a forensic and behavioral autopsy.
No.
So when you say silent dossier, what does that actually mean?
A silent dossier is when the environment itself is the primary witness. It's testifying against the suspect before a single word is spoken.
So while Wade is playing the confused, sleepy tenant,
there's a nightmare sitting in the corner of his room. A nightmare he's been living with for weeks.
That's the central question, isn't it? The gap between his calm demeanor and the reality, just 10 feet behind him. How does the mind even do that?
That's what we need to find out. Let's open the file. This is Dossier, #40, the Apartment of Shadows.
So the interaction at the door, that's our first real data point. The police are looking for Kelly Jean Miller, KJ.
And Wade is casual, almost dismissive. He claims he hasn't seen her in months. He says she's in the zoo.
Kalamazoo.
Right. But if you watch the body cam footage, it's a masterclass in stalling. This isn't just a chat, it's a tactical delay.
He's physically blocking them. He needs to put on shoes, he says. He wants to step outside to talk.
He's trying to move his body to block their line of sight into the bedroom. He wants to drag the whole interaction out to the patrol car where he can control the story.
He knows. He knows if they cross that threshold, he loses all control.
It's about territorial control. And he knows that once they are inside, the sensory evidence is going to take over. And it does, almost immediately.
The smell.
Yes.
One of the officers, he describes it in his report. First, it smelled like gas. Then, like V's.
Which is slang for certain solvents. Cleaning chemicals, things with high VOCs. A really sharp chemical smell.
Right, and then underneath all of that, underneath the bleach and the chemicals, there was
the unmistakable scent of biological death.
A smell you just can't scrub out of the air.
That layering is so specific. It tells us he was actively managing the decomposition. This wasn't a crime of passion where he panicked. He was living in it.
Buying air fresheners.
Yeah.
Pouring chemicals. Curating the rot so he could keep living his life.
And then they see it in the corner. A massive green cooler.
And this is where the mask really slips. The cooler paradox. Our officer asks him, what's in the cooler?
And Wade, without a single blink, just says, that's for a summer party.
A summer party. In May. In a cluttered bedroom. It's such a cynical, insulting lie.
It's improvisation under pressure. He's trying to reframe the object. A cooler means fun, drinks, friends. He's trying to put a pleasant image over a coffin.
He's banking on the social contract, that they won't be rude enough to actually look inside.
But the smell's just too strong. The lie falls completely flat. They open the lid.
And that's it. One of the officers says on the recording, this is something we're never going to be able to unsee.
Inside is a human head. Arms. A torso.
But no legs.
No. Because, as he later explained, KJ was too tall. She didn't fit. He had to detach them.
And just think about this. While they're discovering this, Wade is in the back of the patrol car. And he knows what they're finding.
And he's complaining.
He's complaining about claustrophobia. That the handcuffs are too tight.
It's profound narcissism. His minor discomfort in his mind outweighs the total obliteration of another human being. He's the victim because his wrists hurt.
But the cooler, that's just the end of the story. The real horror is what happened before. This wasn't quick.
No, this was a process based on forensic evidence and testimony from his cellmates. This was a 14-day experiment.
14 days. He kept her in a closet.
He bound her, gagged her, and then he went to work, lived his normal life while KJ was tied up in the dark.
They found an item in the apartment. A white ribbon. It sounds so harmless.
But it was the mechanism of his control. He told cellmates he used a timer. 5 minutes. He would strangle her with that ribbon until she lost consciousness.
And then
he would stop.
Yeah.
And he'd use CPR to bring her back.
Oh my God.
It's the ultimate power dynamic. He wasn't just killing her, he was killing her so he could resurrect her. He wanted to own the boundary between her life and her death,
Over and over again.
playing with the flicker of her life.
And they found, or rather they pieced together this other device, the horse bit.
One of the most chilling details. He took a screwdriver, wrapped it in a washcloth, and forced it into her mouth like a bit on a horse.
But why? Why go to that kind of trouble?
Efficiency. He told his cellmates it was so he could wet the cloth to give her water without having to untie the whole gag.
He was maintaining her, like livestock.
To keep her alive enough for the torture to continue, but silent enough so no one would hear.
By the end of those 2 weeks, the medical examiner's report.
The report confirmed a fracture of the hyoid bone from the strangulation, but the cellmate said she'd lost motor function, lost speech, bladder control. She was essentially erased before her heart stopped.
So when she finally did die, he didn't panic,
No, he needed a saw. He went to his neighbor, Sherry, and asked to borrow one.
telling her he needed to cut his mattress.
An absurd lie, but again, people don't assume the worst. Sherry didn't have one, so he went and bought one himself.
And here's the detail that really tells you everything. After he used that saw, after it was covered in KJ's DNA,
Yeah.
he didn't destroy it.
He traded it.
He traded the murder weapon to an acquaintance named Bill for a used DVD player.
Think about that transaction. A human life, the evidence of a horrific crime, traded for cheap plastic entertainment.
It's just transactional psychopathy. There's no other word for it. The saw served its purpose. Now it had a new value. He wanted to watch a movie.
It's horrifying, but there's a moment in the interrogation that I think is even more revealing. We're talking about the cookie effect.
Okay, but I have to stop you there
Yeah.
because while all this clinical analysis is happening, this one detail, this made my blood run cold. They are in the interrogation room.
Yes.
They are literally cataloging the body parts in his apartment. And Wade asks for cookies,
Chocolate chip cookies.
and he eats them. He's just chewing on cookies while they're discussing how a woman ended up in a cooler.
It's a massive behavioral red flag, a complete lack of what we call appetite suppression.
Break that down. Why is eating cookies so significant here?
Normally, under that kind of extreme stress, your sympathetic nervous system kicks in. Fight or flight. It shuts down digestion. The very idea of food makes you sick.
But Wade is snacking.
The fact that he could enjoy a snack shows his parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system, was dominant. He wasn't stressed, he wasn't horrified, he was, if anything, bored.
It is the absolute casualness of evil. And then, between bites, he starts spinning his narrative.
Performative victimization. He refuses to admit to murder. Instead, he reframes 14 days of torture as medical care.
He claims she had diabetes,
Yeah.
that she fell in the tub. He actually says, I was taking care of her.
Exactly. He's taking the symptoms he caused, the loss of motor function, the silence, and pretending they were some mystery illness he was heroically managing. He is the caretaker of the woman he destroyed.
But that whole act fell apart in prison.
Well, in prison, status is currency. And the accidental caretaker story makes you seem weak. A monster is feared.
So he dropped the act and adopted a new persona. He started calling himself Chops.
Chops, because of the saw. He bragged about it, told inmates he wanted to be the next Ted Bundy, that he wanted to write a book about it. The ego just exploded.
And the cellmates. They also mentioned something else he bragged about. Something about the bathtub. After she was dead.
This is deeply disturbing. Wade admitted to warming the severed parts in the bathtub. He'd run warm water over the remains so he could continue to sexually assault the body.
It wasn't enough to kill her. He had to possess her completely, even after death.
It aligns perfectly with that last message sent from her Facebook account, the one he obviously wrote. It just said, I love you, you are mine.
You are mine.
That's the core motivation. Possession, objectification. Even in death, she wasn't a person. She was an object he was still using.
So how does this even happen? How does a man keep a woman in a closet for 2 weeks, in an apartment with thin walls? Why didn't anyone hear anything?
That's the systemic shadow. He didn't exist in a vacuum. He had neighbors. Sherry.
And she testified she smelled death. She told herself it was a mouse in the walls.
A mouse. And she chose to believe that because the alternative is too terrifying.
She also saw KJ once. During those 2 weeks, Wade opened the door. KJ was there, naked, terrified. And Wade told Sherry she shouldn't have opened the door. I have to get the belt.
And Sherry went back to her apartment.
Why? I mean, how do you just rationalize that away?
It's the normalization of deviance. To intervene is dangerous. It requires acknowledging that a monster lives next door. It's so much safer for the psyche to just say, it's a weird argument, or it's none of my business. We protect ourselves by blinding ourselves.
And KJ herself, she was vulnerable.
She fit the profile predators look for. She was transient, estranged from family, had mental health struggles. Wade banked on her being invisible. He thought no one would come looking.
But he was wrong, because his friend Steven couldn't sleep.
That's the one variable he didn't account for, conscience. He confessed to Steven, thinking a friend would help him. But Steven called the police.
So the verdict, second-degree murder and mutilation, sentenced 39 to 60 years.
And he was also convicted for assaulting a prisoner who snitched on him. The violence didn't just stop because he was in a cage.
39 to 60 years. It feels like a long time, but it doesn't undo the 14 days in that closet.
Justice is a legal verdict on a piece of paper. It doesn't erase the terror. It doesn't bring back the woman who was traded for a DVD player.
For me, the lasting image isn't the cooler, it's the door. Just an ordinary door in an ordinary hallway. You walk past them every single day.
It forces you to reconsider your surroundings. We assume our neighbors are just like us, but sometimes the silence next door isn't peace, it's containment.
And here's the final thought. When Wade was in that holding cell, bragging about being chops, the other prisoners, hardened criminals, they couldn't sleep.
That took shifts.
They took shifts watching him. They were afraid of what he might do to them in their sleep.
If the monsters are afraid of him, what does that make him?
Dossier #40 is sealed. Don't ignore the smell behind an ordinary door.
But the darkness remains. Your next dossier is ready, and it's even more disturbing than this one. Click here to open it.